What's up, family? Man, I want to have a heart to heart with you guys this morning. Man, talk about shame. Shame. It's crazy how strong shame is. Shame can cripple you, shame can paralyze you emotionally, and it can lead to thoughts of suicide. Shame. You never know what someone is struggling with. You never know what someone's carrying, what baggage they're carrying. You never know what someone has gone through, what they've experienced in life, and how it affects them. See, you could have gone through the same thing, and it may not affect you as bad as it has affected them because you don't know the circumstances surrounding it for them. You don't know if they've gone through other things. You have no idea the shame that people carry, the hurt, the loss, the embarrassment, the humiliating thoughts of, man, I fucked up. Man, why did that happen to me? It can be a number of things. And so often we're so quick to judge and criticize people, and we have no idea of what they're carrying. We have no idea of the pain they're trying to process. See, it's easy for us to sit back and say, man, this motherfucker is wilding out. This motherfucker shouldn't be doing whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And why is this motherfucker tripping and da-da-da-da. It's easy for us to sit back and talk about that shit. It's easy for people to sit back and talk about, well, you need Jesus and da-da-da-da-da. And you have no idea of the shame that someone is carrying. And we're so harsh on them. We're so harsh on each other. See, it's one thing for us to fuck up some shit like, damn, I had a great gig. I had a great job. I had a great relationship. I had whatever, you know what I mean? And I fucked it up. I fucked it up. It's easy for us to sit back and think about that stuff. And then what most of us try to do is we try to get distracted and start drinking, start chasing other relationships, start trying to get other jobs. Of course, we need a job, but we try to take our mind off of it, of how bad we fucked up. We don't heal it, we don't process it, we just try to shift our thought process. We never try to really resolve the shame. We just try to move beyond it. And we try to move beyond it without trying to heal it, without trying to understand it. There are so many people that I've talked to that have done things in their life, and the shame is killing them. The shame is burying them alive. They can't have fun like normal people. They can't move forward like so many other people because of the shame. What if somebody finds out? What if somebody finds out my secret and that's eating them alive? Shame. What is it that you're ashamed about? What is it that makes you go into hibernation mode where you don't want nobody to find out about this? And so you keep it close to your chest. There's scientific study done years ago on a bunch of astronauts and Olympians. And the scientific study went along the lines these people wasn't exercising their mind. They were just playing out their their exercise. Whatever it is that they were supposed to be doing. They were hooked up to some computers, wires and everything. And in their mind, they wasn't doing anything physically. They were just sitting there connected to these computers. And in their mind, they were running. In their mind, they were exercising. In their mind, they were doing the maneuvers that they were supposed to do as an astronaut and as an Olympian. And the scientists understood and learned and discovered that, man, even though they're not doing it physically, just because they're thinking about it, their brain doesn't know the difference. Their brain can't differentiate between them doing it and them just thinking it. The reason why martial arts, man, we study and when we practice, man, and when there was times when we wasn't practicing physically, we were just doing the maneuvers, the kicks, the blocks, the strikes, the takedowns, everything. We're doing it in our mind. And you do it in your mind. Your mind doesn't know that your body's not doing it. The same exercise is the same muscles are being worked. Stay with me because it's in your mind. Your mind is strengthening. Your mind is telling your body to do whoop, do whoop, do whoop. And when the computer checks it out, the computer is saying, man, it's as though their body is doing it. Their body is doing it according to their mind because their mind is thinking this. Their mind is saying, man, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're running, you're jumping, you're stretching, you're putting this piece right here and this piece over here. You're hooking this up, you're doing this, you're doing in your mind. And the reason I'm talking about this is because, man, I cut myself shaving this morning. In your mind, when you think about what you've done, what you've messed up, what has you ashamed, your mind don't know the difference from you now just doing it or something you've done years ago. You could have done something as a kid and you could be 40, 50 years old and you're still thinking the same thought. Man, I did this. And you're reliving it. And so to your mind, it's as though you've just done it. It's as though you're doing it now. Every time you think something through, every time you think about sex or man, you're reliving that. You don't have to do anything sexually or physically. In your mind, if you relive something, you do it over and over and over. You play it out. Telling your body, or it's telling the computers that, man, I've done this. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. Because your mind says so. Every time you relive something shameful, every time you keep processing that, every time you keep playing that over and over in your head, you're reliving it. You're reliving that event. I'm telling you this because you can't heal if you keep reliving it. You can't process it and move beyond that if you keep reliving it. If you keep going through that motion. If you keep processing and thinking about it over and over and over and over again. And we do it because we're ashamed. We're embarrassed. We don't want nobody to find out our secret. And so we're killing ourselves. We're torturing ourselves. We're robbing ourselves of the joy and the peace that we can have. You have to learn how to process it and move beyond it. I did what I did. I wasn't perfect. I'm still not perfect. I don't think like that no more. Man, I've outgrown those thoughts. I've outgrown that childish behavior or that destructive behavior, that violent behavior, whatever it is that you're ashamed about. I don't act like that anymore. I'm not that person anymore. If I'm not that person anymore, if I've outgrown those behaviors, then why do I keep thinking about that? If I've outgrown those behaviors, then why do I keep reliving that? You have to find a way to let it go. One of the things that I've done was I wrote something down. The thing that I was ashamed about, I wrote it down. And then I forgave myself for it. I wrote down what I did, and I wrote down that, Elijah, I forgive you. I understand that you wasn't perfect. I understand that you're still not perfect. I'm going to stop judging you for what you did because I expected more out of you and you failed me. You disappointed me. You let me down. You wasn't perfect. You're still not perfect. And that's okay. I love you the same. I'm proud of your growth and development. I'm proud of the fact that you understand that you can't do this anymore. I'm proud of the fact that you've grown through this. You understand your mistake. This is a lesson well learned. You grew from this. You're a better person because you've gone through this and because you processed this. Where you held shame at now you hold some knowledge and some wisdom and some insight. Now you hold some compassion and some love for other people struggling with these actions, struggling with shame. Where you held that shame, you now hold compassion for others. You're not so judgmental anymore. So look at all these things that's changed because you grew from this. Look at all the people you can now help because you've grown from this. Look at all the people you have helped because you've grown from this. And then I took that piece of paper, went outside, had a barbecue pit, and burned it. Burned that piece of paper. I read it out. I read it out loud. My shame. Nobody was around me. I read it out loud, what I did. And I read out what I've changed, how I've changed, and everything else that I just said to you guys. And then I lit the piece of paper on fire. And I released the shame. And in its place, I acknowledged the presence of my growth and development. I acknowledged the presence of the compassion and the love where shame once dwelt, where humiliation once dwelt, where self-hatred once dwelt. I released all of that. And now there's love. Now there's compassion. Now there's some knowledge, some wisdom, some understanding. Once you release something, you have to acknowledge the fact that there can't be an empty space. Something has to fill that void. What's going to fill that void for you? Stop allowing the shame to paralyze you, to keep you stuck in yesteryear or yesterday, whatever it was for you. Man, I hope and pray that I've said something to bless you, to help you, to encourage you, to inspire you, or to even challenge your way of thinking. We have to grow up, and we have to acknowledge the fact that we're not perfect. None of us. We're all going to make mistakes from time to time, and that's okay, as long as you grow through it, as long as you release it, and then take that knowledge and wisdom and understanding that you gained and be a blessing to others. Happy healing. Peace.